now I'll introduce Dr. Sandeep Oberoi. He is the Global Head for Niche Technology Delivery Group in TCS, and he's also an advisory board member for CERC. He's going to talk about the future of interaction with security challenges. He holds a PhD from Computer Science from IIT Bombay, MTech from IIT Delhi, and undergrad from IIT Kanpur. Once I was asking him a question, he should know most of the faculty in all these departments. So I leave the floor to Dr. Oberoi, and thanks for taking time and coming and giving this talk. He's actually from Bombay, so he came to, I'm sure he has other things to do, but he's taken time to give this talk. Let's welcome him.
Okay, so this is about the future of interaction. In this talk, we are trying multiple technologies. People are going to comment, hopefully. Some of the comments may be charitable on online, social media. That's very different to what would have happened maybe 15, 20 years ago, where I will be having a sort of transparency with the market. So interaction is changing. Interaction is changing. That's producing some challenges. And all of you know that because that's how you interact. It says TCS on the slide there, but the mistakes are my own, and nothing is, none of this is a view of TCS. These are my own thoughts. My employer has nothing to do with it, and all the mistakes are my own. All the things that you want to say. So, the thing is that PowerPoint, you see power grabs. PowerPoint grabs absolutely. So, I want to talk to you, I don't want to listen to you, I want to talk to you. So, this is the thing, and this is something that you are familiar with. I don't know how many of you have seen this. Have you seen this? Red or black? Many of you probably have seen it. But it used to be a challenge. It used to take 7-8 years. If you got one, you have to kirtan. The linesman used to be more powerful than that. Today, the landlines never get all the orders. It's the same phone, it's the same cable sleeping, but the phone is work. So if you look at this, and I've been fortunate or unfortunate to have seen all of this. Situation of no phone, situation of active. So apparently, very few people email anymore. I'm still stuck at email. I prefer email. I'm not on WhatsApp. Not very much of a Facebook, right? So I got stuck at email. But all of you have moved beyond email. Activity states. But this is how we are being forced to interact. Or we are choosing to interact. And when you think about it, there are 2 or 3 mega trends. These mega trends are shaping interaction between human beings. Okay? Shaping interaction between human beings and devices. So there are 2 paradigms that I want to talk about. 2 things. The first paradigm is something we call work finds the worker. And the second paradigm is the bit speed cycles. It's something that I call bit speed cycles. If you look at the success of the BlackBerry, I don't use too many apps on the back. I just use email. But the device alerts me about incoming emails. Previous behavior would be periodically I will log in. At the beginning of the day, log in to fetch your mail. But now I don't spend any time to clearing your email. The concept of clearing of email is gone. Email finds me whenever I have time. Right? You are in a happy situation if you have other people who can fraud them. There are some people like that. actually have to act on it. And I'm lucky to be able to most of the email just forward it to somebody to say FYI. But that's the idea. Work is finding new. I'm not logging into different applications and trying to find work. This is a mega thing. If you really look at what this is the next generation workforce. Log into your OS. Log into a collaboration environment. It's a space. Much like Facebook is a space. You log in, you have work lists, you have the ability to communicate with anybody, collaborate with anybody, anywhere. So this is a reality of work. For most of us at work. We have one portal to log in. And through the portal, I am able to raise a request for travel. I am able to have that approved. That goes to the travel agent. I am able to get the ticket. I am able to submit my claims. And money is actually remitted to my bank's account without any signature. Now, that's good. Only thing, the flip side of that is I'm forgetting how to sign. So whenever I sign a check, it always comes back. Whenever my wife signs for me, it always gets passed. That is the problem. Apart from that, it works. This is a reality. This is not something that will happen. This is something that has happened. And we are now grappling with the reality of how much of us lives in cyberspace. So part of us lives in cyberspace. Digital persona in the organization. We are digital persona outside. And the people who want to connect with us. So they are living inside. Living in a collaboration environment. And work is finding you. That's not necessarily a good thing because now you are working 24/7. In the old days, you could always tell your boss that, look, I'll check my email tomorrow. Since everybody has BlackBerry, access to push mail on the phone, 5 minutes after sending an email, you get a call. Did you look at your email? Inadvertently putting in overtime, not getting paid for it. That's the flip side. So cool thing that work is finding me. It's finding me all the time, everywhere. I'm still getting paid for my standard 9 hours ago. The applications are collaborative. In the very old days, I remember first course I learned of programming. First thing you have to do is you have to load the OS on a paper clip. PDC 360. Small paper clip that will bootstrap the OS. Then you have your job. After a year, we got a DEC 1090. It's a great machine, time sharing machine. 256 kV memory. 256 kV memory, right? You wrote an application, you looked at it for a long time, you couldn't afford for there to be a syntax error. It took a lot of time to schedule the job. It just couldn't just do it. It was one person automating the computation and getting the results. And client servers. You've interacted with an application. what's happening today is there are several people that are interacting as part of an application. We have workflow, and our CEO has often said work should never flow, it should get done. But applications are like this, they collaborate. A lot of humans are collaborating on a cyber interaction using lots of media to get the job done. The nature of applications is maybe not a lot of you use, like a calendar for meetings at that stage of life when you don't have to do that. But we often get calendar invites to meetings and we accept those invites. So you have committed your time. You've already committed your time to attend the meeting. Why should you then remember the number to dial in? The telephone exchanges and communication infrastructure of today is perfectly capable of dialing out to you. So I have already accepted and committed my time by accepting the invite. I can get a dial out. The call can find me. It does. The older generation of application had somebody bring up a phone number, pick up a phone and dial that number. It's not necessary to do that. The system will dial up and will connect you to your preferred phone. So this is what I mean by work finds the worker as a paradigm. It's a shift, it's there today, it's nothing futuristic. All of us live it to some extent. The perimeter vanished. 10 years ago, the classical security principle was we put a firewall, segregate the network, monitor all outgoing connections. Today, you have all kinds of wireless devices, high bandwidth wireless devices. People work from various locations. You are not able to very easily define an enterprise perimeter. People work from home. They access office applications through their own personal devices, from their mobile devices, through all kinds of networks. The whole enterprise is deperimeterized. The concept of perimeter defense has therefore become less relevant. One way it's a good thing, but as we will see later, this will present some challenges. So now look at the bits meets atoms paradigm. That's the second mega trend. The first mega trend is also can also be known by the name of software-defined everything. So the softwareization of hardware and the consequent programmability gives you the flexibility for work to find. But the increasing deployment of networking, wireless networking, increasing ability to put executable code onto very small pieces of hardware, means sensors can now talk directly to base stations or other controlling stations over the standard TCP network. Then you suddenly will have billions of devices coming online, pumping all kinds of data. So, what does that mean? Let's take a look at now Whereas you previously had cyberspace, you had the real world, it's becoming a continuum now. There is a cyber-physical continuum. And if you look at the paradigm of the internet, the paradigm of the internet was the browser. All applications migrated to the browser. The browser is the principal interaction paradigm. Look at the shift on the mobiles. Very soon people realize that the browser is not the best paradigm on the mobiles. You have the app paradigm. On mobile devices, people use apps. It's changing paradigm. What happens with things? What is the paradigm going to be for things? For things, you are going to be wanting to locate things in real time. You want to locate the status of those things. You want to book a meeting room. You want to be able to find out what meeting room is free in real time. The room has to be able to advertise that. And if you look at a combination of both these trends, is what the German industry, the German Academy of Science and Engineering is calling Industry 4.0. There are jobs, there are machines. The jobs advertise what they need to have done to do. The machines advertise what they are able to do. And with this, you find an optimization of industry, a cyber-physical continuum where bits meet up. So that's the future of interaction. And that's happening. To an extent, a large part of it is happening. And these are good things. Many of these things are good things. But what are the security challenges? If you look at every simplification of your life, there is only one thing that stands there as bad. That's security. If security wasn't a problem, you would drive right up to an aircraft, get out of your car, and walk up the ladder. So security is a problem. It ultimately limits simplification. And when you start having cyber-physical continuum, security problems can become safety problems. It can become human safety problems. So the stakes become much higher. It forces you to deal with it. A lot of people ignore data breaches, but they do not ignore an aircraft being blown up. So an aircraft is blown up, every single person will go through a metal detector. There will be a system to check that everyone that has checked luggage on the aircraft has actually boarded the aircraft. We will put a lot of energy, time and money. So people take safety issues very seriously. And in industries that make this equipment have a long tradition of safety. So when we are ITizing or we are replacing well-tested designs or systems with software reports, the levels of assurance people will demand will be much higher. But sometimes the deployment exceeds or is faster than the ability of people to understand the implications of the technology and control. So the genie is out of the bottle. Can't put it back in. They have to deal with these challenges. I outlined a few of the challenges. There are more challenges. I am focusing on three or four. The first issue is data protection. You are dispersing data all over. Mobile phone and SD card with a huge storage capacity. "25, 30 years ago, if you had to walk away with the plans of a nuclear center, you would have to take in 2 or 3 trucks, photocopy a vast quantity of material and move to the center. So you could do it probably in one USB drive. That's the problem. They made it much more efficient to store data, much more compact, you can replicate it. Data is moving to the edge of the enterprise. Easy for anybody to exfiltrate data. If you look at the news, it keeps happening every day. Every 2-3 months you hear of a big data breach. It's a problem. Data protection is a big challenge. It's a big challenge. The second fact is that your perimeter has vanished. So identity is the new perimeter. The boundaries of my organization are defined by the endpoints of the people who belong to those organizations. Identity is the perimeter. So how am I going to establish my identity? And everybody knows how unwieldy user ID passwords are. But there is simplicity to that method, which is why it's so widely used. It's a simple method, but it has problems. You have 50 accounts, 60 accounts, several accounts. What do? Use the same password again. That's what most people do. So if somebody has a big data breach and a big breach of passwords, even if other big service providers have not been breached, they had better assume that their accounts are compromised also. It's most likely that is the same password. If God forbid somebody cracks your email password, that's your life. That is the basis for resetting of all your other passwords. Identity defines the perimeter. Identity is not an easy thing to protect and prove. How many different identities do you have? Should the government issue identities? Should the government issue digital signatures? I know how to identify people by user ID password. How do I identify devices? How do I authenticate data? And data needs to be authenticated. So if you go to a shop, give him 500 rupees note. He will be happy, he will smile and give you whatever you ask for. If you go to the same shop, give him a photocopy of a 500 rupee note, he will be a lot less happy. He will be a lot less smiling at you. So people take the difference between an original and a copy very seriously in the paperwork. In the electronic world, what's the difference? How do you distinguish between an original and a copy? And the security features that you implemented using the concept of an original, how are you going to do it in such space? It's a problem. Okay? And I'm just going to tell you about a lot of problems today. No solutions. You now have millions of applications proliferating every day. There are a couple of million apps available for download in any app store. So while people have been talking about big data, there is silently a big code phenomenon also. There is a huge amount of code there, and hardly anybody knows what it does. So the term software, how much of a misnomer software is was revealed in the Y2K. Somebody left 2 digits out of a date field. You have changed various versions of hardware, but the damn software is still the same. Maybe in the year 20,000 the same problem will appear again. You have to resurrect all the old COBOL programs. But now you have a huge attack surface of apps that are being put out there. And they are being downloaded by several people and used. That's the other big challenge. The whole business of new interaction paradigms is leading to serious challenges in data protection, identity management and protection, and security of the applications. But these are all problems in the technology domain. Ultimately, it's accountability that's the grand challenge. You demand accountability. It's a social need. It's a social need, it's not a technical need. And countries are prepared to violate sovereignty to get accountability. The US was prepared to go into Pakistan and kill Osama. So people demand accountability. We know that protection fails. Protection fails, it often fails. Once protection is failed, what are you going to do about it? Who are you going to hold accountable? That's the grand challenge. That's the problem that everybody needs to find an answer for. If something bad happens, what are we going to do about it? So think that through, ladies and gentlemen, think that through. That's all I have to say. You're supposed to clap when somebody